Hello and welcome. So here we are on the video that I most dreaded to do. Now, everyone has been talking to me not to do this video because I'm going to potentially damage my channel, my YouTube channel. But here we go regardless. We all know that Donald Trump won the presidential elections on the beginning of November. He now promises tariffs on all exports. I've already done this video 4 times now, and they ended up 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours. So I'm going to try to make this one, because I have a list of things here on the screen that I want to talk about. Let's try and make it a lot shorter. This is a theme that it's going to generate a lot of positive and negative comments, but I'm confident that this is needed. Okay, no one is speaking that with Donald Trump winning the elections, the video game industries are going to suffer a lot. Why? Because most of them aren't based on the US, so they are going to be tariffed. Elon Musk already talked about this about 2 or 3 times, about tariffing digital content that comes through the web and is commercialized on the US. Let me just remind you that tariffs will be incurred on the companies that make the importation. Those companies are not going to eat up that expenditure, that extra money that the US government is going to request. So they're going to pass on that that value on to the consumer. That means you, me, sure enough, not Elon Musk. But here's what is curious. We're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar industry, the video game industry, which is now considerably larger than Hollywood. The movie business, it's considerably larger. But in taxing this is going to hurt the industry a lot, because most studios do not have their production studios on the US. Most companies have their headquarters on the US, not their production studios, and not where they print out the CDs or DVDs, whatever, Blu-ray. What's going to happen then is that those products are going to be, all of them taxed, all of them tariffed. A video game that right now would be considered expensive, like $70, $80, is going to be taxed more, 25% or even 50% more. So we're talking about an increase of 50% on the price, which means a $50 game is going to commercialize for $75, and so on and so forth. Okay. Games that are super priced, like Call of Duty, are going to be simply prohibitive. We're talking about an increase from 105 euros here on the European Union. Let's translate this to dollars. $105 is going to translate on $158 to $159.99. That's going to be prohibitive for a lot of people. So we're going to see a typical increase on piracy. Piracy don't really doesn't really work with PS5 and Xbox and Nintendo products. They are locked in. Sure, you can have your console bricked and you can throw the console on the trash can, but that's besides the point. The point is, it's going to be totally expensive, and I'm talking about video games so far. Let's talk about the consoles and computers. So a lot of the parts from the computers, although Joe Biden did bring back to the US a lot of circuit manufacturers, it's not enough. So a lot of the parts that video gamers want on their computers are going to be brought from other countries, namely China, namely Taiwan, and Japan. A few parts come from the European Union, but that's besides the point. Those will be taxed at 20% tariffs so far. Now, as part of the deal that Donald Trump pushed to his electors, is that he's going to push tariffs to 50% or even more percent to China. And if China doesn't comply with certain conditions that he created, it can reach up to 100 to 500% tariffs. That's going to make computers unpurchasable. Okay, you will not be able to purchase a computer, a cell phone, or any gaming platform that you want. Why? Because all of them aren't made on the US. And the ones that are made on the US, the PCs that are assembled on the US, require parts that come from abroad. So they're going to be tariffed at 500% or 100%, whatever that maniac wants. So here's the kicker. A computer that is right now $2,000, gaming computer, is going to raise the price. The tariffs are going to raise the price 500% of that. So you are going to have $10,000 to buy a gaming computer, or even more. Okay? Or even a lot more. That's all good and fine for the multi-billion-dollar guys that Trump favors, like Elon Musk, like the guy from Amazon, the guy from Apple. It's not going to be correct for a person that needs a cell phone to have to buy it in the black market, because on the regular stores it's going to be impossible, because all the cell phones come from China and Taiwan. There is no assembly on the US at all. Apple has Foxconn, Samsung has Foxconn assembling their phones, so they come from China. You know, the country that he says 500% tariffs. So, yeah. Feeling yourself shot in the foot? Well, so does Canada, so does Mexico, and so does the European Union. He's threatening to boycott NATO. He's threatening to even leave NATO. That will leave the world at a standstill on the Third World War. Prices are going to skyrocket. And let me just remind you that Ubisoft, a lot of the Ubisoft products come from Ubisoft Kyiv. Okay, you can actually see this on the credits of Assassin's Creed, of Watch Dogs. It was made there. Okay, sure, since the beginning of the war they relocated to Sweden, I believe, but regardless of that, if war continues or even escalates, or emergent wars start, it's going to be skyrocketing prices of circuit boards across the world. That is all because of this maniac's plan for world domination or US domination. Whatever it is, it's wrong, it's immoral, and it's stupid as hell, because the population of the US are going to be the first ones to be dying in the street without anything to eat. Okay? Because most of your food comes from abroad. They're going to be tariffed. So, this is not a video trashing Trump. This is a video trashing Trump's policies. So far, I haven't talked anything about the orange maniac, and I'm not going to. So, another point that I need to emphasize, and the video is already going on, is that Elon Musk promised to open video games studios with an S, so more than one, in order to guarantee that video games stop being woke. Again, he has no goddamn clue what woke is. Woke is a well-informed person. Woke is a person that seeks information, valid information, verifiable information, that is not a hostage of racism and fanaticism. That is what woke is. Period. Of course, the politicization of the world, of the word woke, is hurting the concept of woke. That is because of those two idiots that were on the UFC. I'm not going to tell their names because I don't consider them any valid. But let me just remind you that that is a serious affront to what video games have been launching so far. For example, he considers Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West as stupidly woke, as the character has male features. What male features? She's a woman that trained all her life for an objective. It's okay to have her body conditioned to that objective. Same goes for sports. He wants soccer championships gone from all the soccer games, female championships. He wants WNBA to be shut down, and of course removed from all NBA based games. He wants female characters to have a female approach. That means we return to Lara Croft from the 80s, which from the 90s, which is stupidly big breasts, and basically, if she jumped with those breasts onto a ledge, she would bounce back and die. No realism whatsoever. Okay. Or she would be severely injured on her breasts. That's why the approach of a more realistic Lara Croft on the on the latter years, onto the latest trilogy, that I enjoyed a lot. She's a lot more. She didn't lost that sexual appeal. She didn't lose that femininity. But we don't have to have balloons on your front end to cushion drops or falls, whatever you refer to. That guy is a fucking moron. Okay? Yes, I've said it. Elon Musk is a fucking moron. He has no concept what feminism is. He has no concept what machismo is, because he's listening to the hymn of gay people, the LGBT him, which is in the Navy, on ceremonies on Mar-a-Lago. Those two idiots don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. If they're on drugs or whatever, I don't know. I do believe that Elon Musk's brain has been eaten by a worm. Trump is already geriatric. But this is going to be a revenge run. Okay, to everyone that spoke ill of Trump, is going to use the FBI, is going to use the CIA to hunt them down. Okay, that's besides the point. But this is also to limit people's access to information. If they don't have a computer, if they don't have a cell phone, if they don't have a tablet, where are you going to get your information from? The local newspaper? They're all disappearing. They're all bought from the extreme right. All of them. Almost. But valid information is going to be found on the internet. Information that is not corrupted by the extreme right or the extreme left. Okay? We're going to see dictators like Putin be coddled by Trump, and that is going to have profound and negative implications on video games. Why? Because certain studios that got banned that work on Russia are going to be returning in force to the market with video games that are completely and utterly favoring Trump's new regime and Putin's regime. This is all speculation, but we already I'm already tracking a few studios that are going to do that. Okay, what can we do to stop this? Very simply, in 2 years, Americans need to vote the Senate back to the Democrats, the Senate and the House back to Democrats. That will ensure that if Trump makes a big poo-poo, he gets impeached and thrown out of the presidency permanently. He gets out being what's called a failed president. Oh, he's already that. So to emphasize what I want to bring home, Trump's regime and tariffs and economic system is going to severely impact the entire range of video gaming industry, from the manufacturing of the platforms onto video games themselves. Video games could be banned for being too woke by that maniac Elon Musk. Although he doesn't have the power to do that, he can have his buddies do that. It's not the first time that a video game is banned on the US, mind you. During the Bush administration, Postal 2 was banned. And he's itching to ban a lot of other video games. One of which, Call of Duty. He's ecstatic on the possibility of banning Call of Duty from the US. He said it himself, it generates hate, it generates frustration, it generates this and that, and who knows what. Mind you that I've already defended that Call of Duty, yes, does generate hate, but the main issue for school shootings is not video games, is the access to the things that actually make the shooting possible, the weapons. If mommy and daddy have a full complement of heavy weaponry on their premises, on their house, of course the kid is going to use the guns to express his frustration with teachers, with his colleagues, with video games, for all I care, for everything. It's going to be accessible for him to have that. We don't have that in Portugal. because our kids don't have access to weapons. Okay, you guys have the biggest army, the better equipped army anywhere. Well, the Chinese are getting close, but the US is still the biggest army and well trained and have the best technology available to them. Why the hell do you need home weapons when the president can send the army to the streets if shit hits the fan? You don't need those weapons at home. What are you going to do? Shoot a tank? Well, some of you do have rocket launchers. But apart from that, Jane Doe on his apartment has the maximum, in fact, an M3 or a sniper's rifle. He's not going to kill a tank with it. And besides the point, if China does invade, they're going to bring tanks. They have a lot of them. Just so you know, it's so stupid that a modern America is hostage of laws that were created during a time of instability that was the American Revolution. Access to weapons should have been removed from civilians right after the revolution. Apart from that, that's my opinion. The problem is that video games romanticize having weapons. It's one of the biggest errors. Okay. For example, medieval video games like Dragon Age, like Dragon's Dogma, like Baldur's Gate. We go to a vendor on the city, and he's making available swords, shields, coats of arms, chainmails. That never existed in reality. Ever. Not even in Europe. Back on the medieval days. There was nothing on the US because the US didn't exist. There was nothing there. Okay? If you wanted a coat of arms, you would have to ask the king for permission. If you wanted a sword, only knights had access to swords in certain countries. If you wanted a shield, same thing. The romantic part of having a shield, of having a sword, were created back in the day with the earliest of video games, because we don't have to go to a king or queen requesting permission to have those items, and they would take a long time to give permission. Okay, they would have to investigate who you are, if you have any connections to the royal houses, who's your parents, where did you come from, a lot of things, and that on the medieval times took sometimes decades to do. So right now, if you go to an arms seller on the US, you can buy a weapon of war. Not a personal defense weapon, a pistol or a revolver. A full-blown weapon of war. An assault rifle. That's not to protect your home. Where are you going to protect it from? The North Korean army? Yeah, they're in, North Korea. It's not video games that make the shootings happen. It is the willingness of people, mental instability, and access to weapons that make those shootings happen. Sure, you get frustrated of being offed like 100 times by cheaters on Call of Duty and whatnot. Okay, that's frustrated. That's frustration for you. But I get frustrated for dying 1,000 times on Helldivers, but you're not going to see me start shooting people on the street. That's just stupid. So, guys, the main impact that Trumpism is going to have on video games is an increase of prices that will be prohibitive, okay, for most gamers to have nice products like video games, like peripherals, like cell phones, like tablets, like Wii's. And the first ones that are going to be severely impacted with are going to be the American people. Sure, Europe is going to feel on the long run a little bit the price increase, because we're going to have to tariff Trump back as a response, or block his access to several things that he needs on the US. So I don't know how he's going to toast his re-election if he runs again. That's not even possible, but if he runs again, I don't know how he's going to toast that, because champagne is going to be prohibitive. Okay, he's going to have a hard time justifying a $500 champagne bottle to the Senate. So, guys, get ready for really bad times. And I'm doing this video for my American viewers more than for my European viewers. I'm going to do the European viewers in Portuguese next week. But for now, stay safe, wait it out, and play on if you can. So I'll see you on the next video.